Hello, I'm Philip Duncan. Thank you for joining us for our special Australia update as we track a deluge coming in for the southeastern corner, over 100 millimetres for some places in this part of Australia over the next 4 or 5 days, if not longer. So we're going to break down for you all that rain. This is the culprit, well, part of it. This low pressure system moving along has subtropical airflows coming through to it, and that will move over towards the eastern side. But at the same time, this high pressure zone is also part of the problem. This high is going to drift out into the Tasman, bring in that Antarctic blast for New Zealand, but it will also block the rainmakers from escaping and exiting that eastern side of Australia over the next few days. So the rain is going to accumulate not only because of the blocking high, but also the hills and ranges. So let's take a look at that rainfall. This is the next 5 days of rain, and the bulk of it, the heaviest stuff, down here in the southeast in the blue. 90 to 110 millimetres. That's quite a lot of rain falling, especially for these inland areas where you're getting, in towards the desert. Very, very dry normally. So we're going to be seeing those dry riverbeds come to life as that rain starts to fall. And some of these lower lying areas around Victoria may also be seeing some streams getting up over the next few days. But the coastal side, not quite as bad. So let's break that down a little bit more detail. This is for the next 7 days, taking us through until Tuesday of next week. The heaviest rain in the purple shading, that's 100 millimetres or more. So that starts right out here in the desert really, and then comes through to the more populated areas and the more agricultural areas. So we're seeing in the flat areas north of Melbourne and Bendigo around about 80 millimetres. Similar story around inland parts of Sydney and up here around Dubbo and Orange and Bathurst. And speaking of Bathurst, a lot of attention going to be there later this week and this coming weekend, so we'll give you the forecast for that as well. So that's the bulk of the heavy rain though in that southeastern corner, mostly dry further to the north and further out to the west. So here is the forecast. Here we are on Wednesday. That big Antarctic blast over in New Zealand has arrived, but on the other side of this high, which is kind of like a giant roundabout, you're ending up getting, northerly winds coming down from the subtropics. So windy with gale force winds in some areas, and that rain sort of sliding up against the high, but also against the hills and the mountains and ranges. So those rainfall totals will start to lift up. Way over on the other side, Perth is joining hands with New Zealand a little bit with a wintry southerly arriving for you. By Thursday, that wintry change over there starts to fall apart. And now you're seeing the windy westerlies returning for coastal zones. But over here on the eastern side, that high out in the Tasman doing an effective job at blocking those rainmakers. They're sliding further to the coastline though. They'll go over Canberra and Sydney as it does so. But the windy northerlies will carry on. They won't be fading away too quickly. So as we go to the end of the week on Friday, the high is out here in the Tasman and those northerlies carry on. And with this surge of windy westerlies coming through, the rain will start to, once again, accumulate. So we'll see those higher totals, as you can see in the green areas and some yellow in there as well around Griffith. That's where those totals will start to lift up. So let's take a look at the weekend, Saturday. Not so flash in Bathurst. Around that area, we're seeing inland areas getting more rain. It might not be overly heavy, but it could be a bit of a gloomy day with the rain and showers coming through. But this high is expanding and trying to push it sideways. But let's have a look and see what's happening on Sunday. A low is forming. Now, it's a rapidly forming system. It's going to deepen quite quickly over here in New South Wales and then drift down to Victoria and then quickly exit out to sea, and it'll be gone by Monday. But this is going to produce another burst of wind and rain, followed by the windy southerlies on one side, windy northerlies on the other, as that comes on through. For Bathurst, we might be seeing, potentially, fingers crossed anyway, because I certainly like this, a few thunderstorms as we transition from northerlies to the cooler southerlies. We'll have to wait and see if that actually transpires. We'll be keeping a close eye on it. But as you can see, a burst of wind and rain in the southeastern corner coming up for Australia. Only a few showers up there around Brisbane. And that is all from me for this special update. We'll be back again tomorrow, Wednesday, with our usual update for New Zealand and Australia. We'll see you then.